Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing the concept of why can't I do this myself? I had an email from someone here recently, and lawyers get really people. I won't necessarily say they're on their worst behavior, but they kind of can be very odd when dealing with lawyers, and I don't know why. I've never seen any other profession or any other business or any other sort of commercial or customer service sort of relationship or interaction or any type of transaction that quite occurs in the same way as a lawyer. Now, that said, doctors have a unique role to play. So, it's just kind of part and parcel with the profession. But one thing that it doesn't come up all the time, but I see every few months, I'll get an email that, when we tell people, look, this is what we can do for you, et cetera, they'll send back, well, why can't I do that myself? Well, why can't you? It's sort of my response. Yes, of course you can do it yourself. You can drive a car with your feet. Doesn't make it a good idea. You can do anything you want. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad idea sometimes to do it oneself, but I always find it funny because it seems to be that the implied question within the question is, why should I hire you? Well, that's up to you. I'm not really, people that have dealt with me in a professional setting, I don't really try to push them into anything. It's like, if you want to retain us to assist you, we're happy to do that. And we will advise as to what it's going to take to get that done. If you don't, that's fine too. Many people do their taxes on their own. Many people do immigration matters on their own. Many people do things on their own, and that is fine. But just because you can do it on your own, I just am sort of at a loss for words on why the question is even posed. Yes, you can do it on your own oftentimes. I think there's a certain subset of folks that view a lawyer as only supposed to be used when it's impossible. And frankly, those types of folks are really kind of difficult to deal with in a client relationship setting because oftentimes, I've seen this, they'll get themselves into a situation that's a total quagmire, and then they're kind of almost resentful that they need you around. So, I'm making this video mostly to provide some insight into how sort of I as a lawyer sees things, like sort of my perspective on the world, but also because that's a question to ask yourself. If you're posing that question to me, I don't really have a response for you other than there's nothing that keeps you from doing this yourself. If you're asking yourself that question and you think you can do it, go ahead. No one's stopping you. If you're contacting me for assistance, well, that's fine too. Some people, just as a for example, I deal with a lot of CPAs. I am a tax attorney. People will sometimes say, well, why do I need somebody to fill out my taxes? You don't. People, do their own taxes all the time. But it doesn't necessarily, some people don't want to do that. In most cases we deal with respect to a lot of what we do, especially in the U.S. immigration field, people will tell me, they'll say, I could learn to do this and, spend hours on end trying to learn to do this and ultimately doing it, and then I have this skill set that I'll never use again. Or I can just use you. It's a convenience thing. I also understand times are tough. Cost is an issue. Fees are an issue. I don't disrespect that. And I'm not making this video to be sort of derogatory. It's more a video, again, if you're asking me that question, I turn it back on you. Well, why can't you? It's not on me to try and convince you to use me. I don't really believe in that at all, frankly. It's on me to do my job once I'm retained to do it. It's not on me to, convince you that you can't do this yourself and you really need me. No, that's not necessarily the thing. Now, there are certain circumstances. Look, trying your own murder case, where you're on defense for your life or something, probably you're going to want some counsel to assist with that. Now, that's an extreme example, but there are other circumstances. If you're in a really difficult situation or you found yourself in sort of, we've dealt with a few cases like this here recently where people have inadvertently had to deal with the possibility they might fall out of status. And frankly, we probably were in a position to help them where they could not help themselves. They just didn't know the ins and outs and could not have acted with the alacrity that we were able to solve the problem. But that said, I mean, that's not all of our clients by any stretch of the imagination. In my opinion, most of our clients essentially retain us and hire us for convenience more than anything. It's not really a matter of can you do it yourself, it's a matter of do you want to.